Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Dean Glucina from Strata Results. Welcome to Strata Today. On today's episode, we're going to be speaking with Frank Filippone from Bank of Queensland. Frank, thank you very much for joining us.
Dean, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Mate, for the people that don't know you, tell us about your journey with Bank of Queensland and how it all started.
It started about 17 years ago, Dean. I was working for another bank and a friend of mine sent through a paper clip from the Courier Mail saying that Bank of Queensland is coming down to Victoria and looking for owner managers, and thought it was a pretty interesting concept that you have a chance to own a bank. And, you know, being in banking all my life, I thought it was a great chance to go out and own my own business and start with Bank of Queensland, and been on the corner of Burke and Queen Street ever since.
Fantastic. I mean, for people that don't know, what separates Bank of Queensland from the rest?
Well, the franchise model is probably the key point of difference of Bank of Queensland. We have most branches in Victoria are or were owner-managed branches, so they're basically a franchisee, for want of a better term. So you get a real relationship with a small business operator who is trying to help small businesses. So we, true B2B, I guess, but in banking, which is very, very unusual. And
no doubt at all. I mean, obviously, there's been the whole landscape has changed with COVID, and I'm guessing from a finance standpoint, you see that more than anyone. What would be your top tips that you see in a post-pandemic world or leading out of the pandemic?
Yeah, look, that's a really good question, and economists are still arguing about it, which is great. The bank did have a presentation with our chief economist a couple of weeks ago. So, mate, I'm going to quote Peter Monkton here. He's basically, the post-pandemic has seen booms across every Western world in asset values. Governments have put a lot of money in. There's a lot of inflationary measures in play at the moment. So a lot of people fortunately cashed up, especially in Victoria and Australia, with lockdowns and government subsidies. Most people got through okay, notwithstanding a couple of industries that were seriously hit. And look, I think there's great support in the business world for people who were hurt during the pandemic. So I think there's going to be a lot of spending. It's my personal opinion now, Dan. A lot of spending, a lot of people going to restaurants to help out restaurateurs and get people back on their feet. A lot of people will be coming into the city for fun and spending money and recycling. I think we're going to have a pretty strong couple of years economically. And post-pandemic, I think it's people want to leave it behind as quick as they can and move forward.
It's going to be interesting. People aren't going to know what to talk about anymore, right?
Yeah. And we, as you know, we've got a few friends who own restaurants, and and clients, and they're saying exactly that. People are spending a lot of time with each other and catching up and getting back to a basic need. Look, the interesting one is how many people come into the city for work and how often they're going to come in for work. I was sorry to be a bit city-centric, but I actually worked every day during the pandemic, and I saw Melbourne at its worst after knowing Melbourne at its best. So hopefully we get back up there pretty quickly from a personal point of view. From a business point of view and where the market's going, I think a lot of people now are taking time out to plan their future, and they have pretty well over the pandemic. So they've saved a lot of money. Those who are fortunate enough to keep employment, and now they're working on their next strategy for, if something like this happens again and there's another slowdown or a shutdown. I think a lot of people now are prepared because they've witnessed it firsthand. So I think, as a general rule, most people have been financially responsible if they were lucky enough to keep their jobs during the pandemic.
Yeah, listen, onwards and upwards, right? So I can't wait to see the city alive and pumping again. Frank, one last question that I think is topical for a lot of people, whether that be people with existing home loans or people looking to get into the market. And obviously, there's been such an increase in the housing sector. What would be your tips or advice for people with existing home loans or people looking to get into the market?
People with existing home loans probably look at your interest rate clearly. Look at there's some good fixed rates coming out now. It's not that I'm giving any fixed advice, but it might be a consideration. use your money more wisely, and people are paying off home loans quicker, which is awesome. Also, with that, they also have extra equity in their home. So if you're looking at investing, it's probably a great time to start getting some equity from your home. Go start talking to your bank about releasing equity to purchase another investment property or another investment, and get your income going. For the younger kids out there who are staring at massive mortgages, probably look at different asset choices. There's a lot of, I know it's not for everyone. Inner city apartments are relatively cheap now compared to residential houses in suburbs. Whether that bounces or not, clearly I'm not a property spruiker, but it's probably look at different asset classes and get in the market if you can. And do the right thing, save your money, pretend you own a mortgage for 3 months at least, and start putting that money away. So when it does come into getting a loan with the bank, you actually can prove that you can save that money and the mortgage is not going to impact your lifestyle too much. At the end of the day, we all need to enjoy ourselves and not just have a big mortgage.
Man, that's great advice. I mean, I, for one, probably wouldn't have looked at the saving and spending routine as if you had a mortgage if you already didn't. So, I mean, these are the elements that having a personal banker can be of benefit. True?
True, yeah. And, the other thing, for better or for worse, you get me for at least more than, 2 to 3 years, or if you have relationship banking in other banks. Unfortunately, they don't last as long as a lot of people want. So we do have intergenerational clients there, which is great. So we're looking at kids' home loans for existing clients, which is nice touch when a parent sends their child in to see us. So, and it's actually target of us to try and manage that a bit better.
Thanks for taking time out of your day to have a chat with us. I'm sure that some of the advice and the insight that you've given our viewers is going to be worth its weight in gold. If anyone wants to get in touch with Frank and Bank of Queensland and show how they can assist, please feel free to follow the links in our post, or you can contact Frank directly at Burke Street Bank of Queensland. Frank, thank you so much again, my friend.
Thank you, Dean, and thanks, Strata. Speak soon.